On this edition of Sightings, a landmark UFO encounter is witnessed by a plane full of passengers, the flight crew, and members of Argentina's military.
I saw blue lights passing very close to the plane. People were very nervous. They didn't know what was happening.
This man has trained dogs to smell cancer on humans with near-perfect results.
When he hit the spot and he smelled it was the cancers, he put his paw on it and then sat down.
Is it a miracle or a medical breakthrough? Psychic Peter James helps unravel a Maryland mansion's haunted past in Sightings' ongoing investigation of the House of Plenty.
I think I'm going to communicate with something in this room.
And the best evidence yet that UFOs really do exist.
You can tone it down all you want, and it's still pretty amazing.
Welcome to Sightings. I'm Tim White. In 1995, a spectacular UFO sighting occurred over the city of Bariloche in Argentina. There was an enormous luminous object in the sky and then an abrupt and unexplained power outage. There were hundreds of frightened eyewitnesses on the ground. But more frightening still were the passengers and crew of an Argentine Airlines jet who saw the UFO head-on from their vantage point at 15,000 feet. July 31st, Aerolíneas Argentina's Flight 674 is cleared to land at Bariloche Airport. It's a quiet night, just two planes on radar, Flight 674 and a distant military jet. But then, suddenly, a third craft appears, a UFO so disturbing that it has changed the course of this pilot's life, as he tells Sightings in his first interview outside Argentina.
Y nuestra preocupación.
Our worries began when we saw the light. We consulted with the tower, and they said they didn't know of any other craft in the area.
The tower questioned whether Polanco might be seeing the military aircraft, but Polanco insisted that there was a third craft bearing down on his jet.
We asked the tower again, and they said they could see our lights, that there was no craft near ours. And they confirmed that there was the military craft in its position.
Nosotros estábamos aproximando.
We were approaching the airport at Bariloche.
Argentine Air Force Commandant Ruben Zapusak was the other identified pilot in the air that night.
A 38 millas.
At 38 miles outside of the airport, I set my radio to the same frequency as the control tower. We could hear the communication between the control tower and the pilot of an Aerolíneas Argentinas aircraft, who was asking the controller if there was any other flight in this area. The controller answered that there was no other craft around.
La primera impresión es de un choqueo.
The first impression was shock from the people inside the plane. The lights of the object were well defined. There was an orange light on top of it, green lights on the side, and the solid part of the object was dark.
Horrified passengers stared out the window and watched as the UFO flew dangerously close to the port wing.
I was looking through the window, and I saw blue lights and orange lights passing very quickly through very close to the plane.
Nuevamente, le dice.
We heard the AA pilot saying that there was something flying parallel to them. The controller said it couldn't be. They couldn't see anything. The control tower then called us to ask if we didn't see anything. We were 6,000 feet above the AA flight and paying attention to its communication. We told the controller that we couldn't see anything. Just after that, we heard the AA pilot say that the lights at the airport had gone out.
There was a general power cut throughout the city, which made us use the emergency services at the airport. I told the control tower that we couldn't generate electricity anymore and that they should tell the plane to start an escape maneuver because we couldn't keep even the emergency lights on properly.
The blackout forced Polanco to abort his landing. He was ordered to circle until power could be restored. As the streets were enveloped in darkness, the brightest source of light in the city was the UFO.
That night, we had a big blackout. My husband and I went out to buy cigarettes. When we went out, we saw that it was all dark. There wasn't anyone outside, not even cars on the streets.
Maria and Silverio Cabral were among the hundreds of Bariloche residents who reported seeing the UFO.
I was driving the car when my husband said with panic that there was something standing still above us. I was pretty amazed to stare at something that wasn't normal. The lights were amber and orange, and they were about 3,000 meters high.
The light was really powerful. When we decided to get out of the car, the light suddenly disappeared going east. That means it went toward the airport. It went so quickly that it was impossible to follow with our eyes. We were about to enter the airspace when we again heard the Aerolíneas Argentinas pilot asking for confirmation of the existence of another aircraft in the area. The control tower denied it again. The controller said that the only aircraft close to him was mine. Then we saw a small light 5,000 feet below our aircraft. It was an amber and clear light blinking, which went by us at a speed of about 600 or 800 miles per hour. This light flew horizontally, then suddenly it turned vertically, and suddenly it was up above us. We raised our eyes up to the window to see the light going up higher.
The control tower didn't confirm it, but the military confirmed that he could see the light as he saw our plane from a different position. The lights at the runways on the airport were gone. We started our escape maneuver, and I noticed that the crew started getting nervous.
People were very nervous. They didn't know what was happening, so everyone chatted inside and talked, and they were asking, wondering what was happening, that we couldn't land.
We said we were making an escape maneuver because there was no electricity at the airport. While we went up, the object to our right went up, forward toward the lake, and went up at a 90-degree angle at incredible speed, and waited for our turn at the lake.
All of a sudden, we saw nothing else. So we started looking toward our horizon, and we saw the light just in front of us, standing still about 29 miles from us.
Polanco thought the UFO was moving away, but suddenly, there it was again, directly in front of him.
When we turned over the lake toward the airport, we saw the UFO again, waiting for us on our trajectory. Once we finished our turn toward the airport, the UFO disappeared below us.
As soon as the UFO disappeared, the lights came back on. Polanco landed and immediately filed an official report. Fear turned to frustration when the pilot tried to follow up with airport investigators.
We were approached by the airport director, who asked me for the report of what had happened. He had to take it to the authorities. We gave this report to the airport authorities, but so far, I haven't received an answer about it.
With the civil investigation going nowhere, Polanco turned to the military.
An official investigation was denied by the Air Force. But after 2 months, I was approached by a Defense Ministry Department official. He wrote a report, but I haven't received a copy.
Fellow pilots warned him to let the incident drop. But Polanco believes that finding the truth is more important than just one man's career.
I decided not to keep quiet about it. So I decided to let the public know what happened that night.
I would like to know what it was, since the light was flying in a very strange way. It didn't fly like a normal plane.
I started to ask myself questions, but there are questions for which one has no answer.
If there are answers, Polanco says he must find them, because he believes there is something out there, a UFO under intelligent control.
What I always ask myself is how they could know the maneuvers I was going to make, and if the object knew what I was thinking. I had the impression that this object could foresee what I was thinking. This is an experience that has changed me for the rest of my life.
Jorge Polanco believes that there may be more repercussions from his employer and his friends as a result of this broadcast. But Polanco has told Sightings that he must continue to search for an answer to his UFO encounter, no matter what the cost.
Next, man's best friend in the fight against cancer.
His record in the cancer thing is 99.7% out of 451 surgeries.
It's a scientific fact that dogs can hear and smell things that we cannot, and they put these hypersenses to work for the good of humankind. After an earthquake, certain dogs can sniff out human survivors trapped under tons of rubble. Some dogs can track the scent of a missing child or a wanted man. And there is growing evidence that some dogs can save lives in yet another way. They can sniff out cancer.
They are sensing something that I can't see, and that's another clue. And I think that this is the kind of thing that if we have an open mind about this, we can learn from observing these dogs and hopefully advance medicine.
It all started in Tallahassee, Florida in 1993 with a hunch. Dermatologist Dr. Armand Cognetta heard a report about a search dog that had sniffed out a body at the bottom of a lake. The doctor, who treats many patients with skin cancer, wondered, if a dog can pick up a scent through water, could they sniff out disease, specifically cancer, inside the human body? Then, a strange coincidence. In a British medical journal, this article about a dog credited with finding a malignant growth on its owner's leg. Dr. Cognetta brought the article and his hunches to Dwayne Pickle.
Okay, now you watch. Listen, watch. Wait. I said, I can train a dog to find anything that's different than its surrounding environment. And if indeed cancer is, then yes, we can train dogs to find it.
Dwayne has worked with dogs for 30 years, 8 in the military and the rest in law enforcement. He initiated the canine unit of the Tallahassee Police Department, training and patrolling with dogs for drugs, bombs, and to detect smuggling. Dwayne Pickle knows dogs.
The dog's sensitivity to smell is 220 million times better than ours. They can see 10 times better than we can. They can hear 1,000 times better than we can. The combination of those three is why we use dogs. They're just phenomenal things that they can do.
And the best example of this phenomenal ability, says Dwayne, is his partner George, a purebred schnauzer and one of the most highly decorated dogs in the country.
I wanted a bomb dog that was more agile, more coordinated, and that's why I brought George in. He has so much experience and so much indoctrinated that throwing something new at him doesn't faze him. He enjoys doing that.
The first hurdle was to determine if cancer did, in fact, have a smell. Dr. Cognetta gave Dwayne cancer cells taken from biopsies of patients with malignant melanoma. Dwayne placed the cells in an airtight test tube and hid it from George.
Finding cancer is the exact same thing as training a dog to find drugs or training a dog to find bombs. He already knows that when I give him a scent, he has to go and find it. Good, okay, very good.
To determine if George was smelling the scent on the tube or the cancer inside, Dwayne built a scent box. He filled the holes with tubes and other medical supplies. Only one airtight compartment held the cancer cells, and George found it.
Very good. Then we went to the Tallahassee Memorial Regional Medical Center and asked if they could sponsor the program and help us get approval for doing so through the American Medical Association and the Academy of Dermatology and the Ethics Committee, and actually jump a lot of the hoops that had to be done in order to do this.
Nurse Kim Edwards had a very personal reason for volunteering for the next phase of testing.
My dad had melanoma, as well as my grandmother had a basal cell cancer that removed a large portion of her left upper arm. I have been having moles removed for the past 6 or 7 years, probably a total of 20 moles that were questionable. So Dwayne came up with a way to put Band-Aids to see if we could train the dog, like with a cancer cell hidden in a Band-Aid. Could you then put it on a patient, and would the dog then be able to do a process and figure out where it was? When we first did the first test and I came out and laid down, I wasn't really skeptical, but I didn't know. I was trying to come with an open mind. And as George was walking around and came upon the first cell and hit it, it was like, oh gosh, he can do it. This is potentially something that can save my life one day.
Good, okay.
That day did come for one of Dwayne's fellow officers. Edward Messer was one of the participants in Dwayne's final testing phase. This time, there were no cancer cells in the adhesive bandages, just bandages placed over suspicious moles and growths of medical center volunteers. Edward had a growth on his back that had been biopsied, but the results were inconclusive. Would a schnauzer know, but a pathologist did not?
When I was laying there on the table and the dog was moving around, I said, what the heck am I doing here? This is silly. And, of course, you never know, you know. And that's something that you, the dog would go all the way around. And when he hit the spot that he smelled, it was the cancers, he put his paw on it and then sit down. And after he did that, I said, well, maybe this might have something there after all.
When the dog indicated on it and it proved to be melanoma, then that, to me, was amazing, because now we've done something that's never been done before, and that feels good.
How many lives he saved?
Ooh, I don't know. His record in the cancer thing is 99.7% out of 451 surgeries.
Amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, he's done a great job.
After the initial study, Duane began contacting other Tallahassee doctors, including Dr. Clifton Bailey, who specializes in diseases of the lung, asthma, emphysema, and lung cancer.
I thought for a few minutes, and I said, I'm sure. I'm sure that a dog can identify tumors of the lung that connect to the outside. And if you think about it, it's really logical, because if something looks different, it's probably made up differently. And if it's made up differently, it's got a different smell.
Duane built a new scent box to hold identical test tubes, one of which contained a filter that a lung cancer patient had breathed into.
Good boy, all right. It takes a real professional to do this because someone's life is at risk. This is a trained dog that's doing it on command. So it takes a great deal of work, energy, and effort. It takes about 1,200 hours to train a dog to do this. It may not be high tech, but the program is very high skill.
Duane's challenge now is to teach his training methods to more dogs and more dog trainers.
Very good. Good girls.
I've lost several friends through cancer. I've watched the agony that families and patients go through. And if there's any way that a canine and I could help in that, that's what I would like to see done.
The project is not without its detractors. Many healthcare professionals see the dogs as impractical and less cost-effective than mechanical detection devices. But Dr. Bailey believes that by studying how the dogs find the cancer may lead to new medical breakthroughs.
The first question is, what is the dog smelling? Is the dog smelling an individual molecule, individual chemical? Is the dog smelling a fixed recipe of volatile chemicals? To go further would need more sophisticated scientific approach, and we don't have the facilities.
So this is just another incident where dogs are really a part of our family and can save our lives because they have capabilities we don't have.
The doctors use as many tools and stuff as they can, and to me, this was possibly just another tool to be used. Yeah, it's a dog, but does it matter what the tool is? It sounds a little strange to some people, but if you know dogs, if you work with them, then it doesn't matter. You're talking about your life.
As promising as his initial study has been, Duane Pickle may not be able to take his research much further. Duane's a dog trainer, not a medical researcher. He needs guidance and funding to keep his Cancer Alert Dog program alive. But so far, he has yet to find a mainstream scientific institution willing to help him continue his research.
Next, ghosts from cyberspace and anti-gravity devices made from alien technology. Later, the stunning results of sightings investigation of the House of Plenty.
Here are some of the stories Sightings is following in the news. It's available right now on the web. Instant access to a worldwide network of people who have all seen, heard, or felt the presence of a ghost. And researchers using the new internet links believe even more strongly than ever that ghosts are real. On the World Wide Web, Bob Bowling is one researcher with his finger on the pulse of ghost encounters.
I started the website mostly out of curiosity to find out what was common throughout the world regarding ghosts.
Bowling's website has been up and running for just over a year and already has received more than 14,000 first-person reports of haunting activity.
I tried to get a survey going then and research to try to find out how common this was, but the logistics prevented that, and what made it available was the internet, and that's why I started the Ghost Links website, so that I could reach out to the whole world.
Through his research, Bolin has discovered that there are 4 major ghost categories. There are shadows, two-dimensional figures of the human form. There are spheres of light or electricity. There are also clouds, amorphous or figural. And there is the classic 3-dimensional ghost, usually translucent and monochromatic. Bolin has also found that sightings spike in June, July, and September.
My research has been very, very worthwhile. I plan on using the research, writing a book, incorporating a lot of these true stories, plus the information about the different types of ghosts, that these beings are real. They're not some life videotape or life force that's left over. Ghost encounters cross all cultural and religious lines. They are real.
If you've had a ghost encounter, Bolin invites you to fill out his ghost poll at this address. From Fort Langley, British Columbia, it may look like a cross between a flying saucer and an outdoor barbecue. But this, according to the men who are building it, is the future's best hope for a pollution-free vehicle. It's called the Gravital Magnetic Device, a strange flying machine that its designers say will one day levitate using only magnets. Stranger still are the claims of designer David Hamill that he received the plans for his machine during an abduction experience. Pierre Sinclair is an electronics engineer who first met Hamill in 1989 and has been one of his staunchest supporters ever since, promoting Hamill's revolutionary ideas and helping to construct a first GMD prototype.
The GMD, the Gravito-Magnetic Device, is a device designed to produce anti-gravitational energy. That means a machine that can produce a gravitational field that can be moved around it. So that means you can use that for propulsion, or you can use that to make a new type of electricity.
Sinclair has co-authored a book about Hamill's abduction experience and the evolution of GMD plans and prototypes.
It was very important to communicate to the public what the story was about, what the technology was about, because of its importance. Because of the man himself. David Hamill was not the kind of man to explain it to everybody. He was the man to make the machine, not to explain it. He needed somebody else to convey the message. That was my job.
Sinclair acknowledges that anti-gravity is regarded as unobtainable fringe science, but he and Hamill are not deterred.
My long-term hopes for the GMD are that someone, somewhere, will pick on this technology and bring it about so that this technology becomes about that we can clean the earth of all this pollution that we have right now. It's time to carry on to better and more useful and cleaner sources of energy. We have the potential to do it, and the GMD is one of those.
We'll have more stories in the news next time. Now, here's what's coming up as Sightings continues.
There's a man in a uniform standing right there. Hello?
Psychic Peter James attempts to unravel the nightmarish past of Beverly Ehrig's dream house.
Something just grazed the top of my head. Hello?
On a past program, we brought you the incredible story of Beverly Ehrig and her search for a dream house. Literally. Since she was a teenager, Beverly had dreamt about an old house and a man standing on a hill above it. In a bizarre twist of fate, Beverly met a man like the man in her dream, and he owned a house identical to the one she'd been dreaming about. So the question is, was Beverly really dreaming or remembering? The dreams were disturbing at first. Where did they come from, and what did they mean? Beverly worried that she was going crazy until she moved into the real-life house that matched her visions, and her family began seeing the same apparitions that had haunted her since childhood. Our first sightings investigation answered the how and when of the haunting here when we found measurable pockets of anomalous energy, but the why remains a mystery. Why are Beverly, this house, and these ghosts bound together in dream and reality? Clinical hypnotherapist Barbara Lane believes she may have discovered an answer.
Just listening to the sound of my voice, and your eyelids are getting heavier and heavier, harder and harder to keep them open. And now just close your eyes, and just listen to the sound of my voice. What's your name?
Mary. She recalled under hypnosis
being Mary, and she saw herself. She recalls a relationship with a friend in that lifetime at 16 years old.
Under hypnosis, as Mary, Beverly revealed new details about the male ghost.
What is the coat?
It's part of a uniform.
And what uniform is that?
Military. He's going to go away.
What do you think about this?
I don't want it. I don't want it to go.
Then, in a deep hypnotic state, Beverly revealed that the soldier ghost of her past life could be found in human form in this life. It was the man who had inherited the house from his ancestors. It was Paul Downs, her landlord.
Paul was in Beverly's regression, and he was the gentleman, her friend, when she was 16 years old. He was the one dressed in the Union uniform. And in this lifetime, I do know that he recreates Civil War reenactments. So I do find that very interesting that he is drawn to the Civil War.
Barbara Lane believes that there are paranormal forces at work in Paul's house that have drawn Beverly here and will keep her here.
I do think that there is a connection with Beverly and with Mary. I do think there's a connection with the past, a historical connection, a soul connection.
But why have the past lives of Mary and the soldier come back to haunt the present?
Perhaps because something was not resolved in that lifetime. She has had a specific draw to come back and to resolve it in this lifetime.
Lane believes that the spirits are trying to deliver a message. First, reaching out to Beverly, and now to her entire family. But what is that message? Peter James believes that he knows. Peter is a psychic investigator who claims to have the power to communicate with the dead. Sightings invited Peter to Port Tobacco, Maryland, and brought him to the house known as Plenty for his psychic impressions. Beverly and her family were moved to a neighbor's house during Peter's initial visit to prevent any direct or indirect influence. Standard and thermovision cameras were used to record Peter's revelations, particularly startling because he knew nothing of the activity here.
There are two men, males, that are in uniform. This dates back to the time of our union of our country. One is older, one is younger. This younger man, he does walk this house, and it feels like he's here with a broken heart. It feels like he's looking for a younger female that keeps looking out the door, out the window, in anticipation of someone coming back. And this person coming back wears the uniform.
This emotional connection had been a constant theme in Sightings' earlier interview with Beverly.
I felt very close to her. It was easy to pick up her emotional state, very, very much so. I felt that she was very, very fond of and very close to the soldier.
As Peter began to voice his impressions, a sweet smell wafted down the stairway.
There's a sweet smelling is at the house.
The Sightings team smelled it too. Peter claimed that this was a physical manifestation of a female spirit.
Right here. Look, right here. Right here. Look. Quietly. Someone is standing right there. Don't shine your light on him. Hello? There's that male. There's a man in a uniform standing right there. Hello? The young lady and the young man in uniform are both, they're both on this floor. Look, something just grazed the top of my head. Hello?
I got some registration exactly when you said that.
Did you? Yeah. Yes, there's something right here.
Right now.
Yeah.
When the tape from the thermovision camera was played back, the team found this. An unexplained wave of cold on the stairway, visible on thermovision despite the fact that all the doors and windows in the house were closed. It was eerie because this stairway has been a paranormal hotspot for years. It was also one of the locations where Al Rober had earlier recorded what he believes are voices from beyond the grave. Rober is an expert in EVP, electronic voice phenomenon. Before Peter's arrival, Rober had made recordings throughout the house. One of the loudest sounds was recorded here in the master bedroom. It was the same bedroom where Peter had one of his strongest psychic hits.
Someone died in this room.
Peter did not know that this is the room where Carmel Bender, who had lived here in the 50s, had seen a mysterious apparition. Nor did he know that her grandmother had died here under suspicious circumstances.
Her death was kind of a mystery because we don't really know if she fell and hit her head.
When Peter went into the bathroom where Carmel's grandmother had supposedly hit her head on the tub, he had a disturbing vision.
I get a sense here that someone contemplated suicide in this room.
Then he moved into the room where Mary had been seen most often, and there his impressions moved further back in time.
Has anyone mentioned seeing the lady in waiting in this room?
Yes.
Yeah, because feels like this was her room. Clairaudiently, I hear her sobbing, almost hysterically, because it feels like she's received the news that her beau is not coming back.
I felt she had a strong attachment to looking out the window. It was easy for me to understand how she was feeling, the sadness, the looking, the searching for someone, something.
I think her name begins with an M.
Peter sensed a connection between this spirit and Beverly. We agreed to bring Peter and the earrigs together at this point so Peter could attempt a spirit communication.
I'd like to come back to this room later because I think I'm going to communicate with someone in this room. I think we're going to have a little action in this room, guys.
Remember, Peter James had no information about the investigations that had come before. He'd never met Beverly, nor anyone in Port Tobacco for that matter. And Peter had no knowledge of Beverly's past life memories of Mary and her soldier beau. But Peter James had somehow seen it all. And in a moment, we'll have the revealing conclusion of Peter's investigation.
Next.
It's cold, yeah. She's here. Mary?
Will contact with the House of Plenty's past resolve its many mysteries?
In the antebellum house in Virginia known as Plenty, psychic investigator Peter James found a wealth of haunting activity. He identified the spirits of a slave, a soldier, and a grieving woman named Mary. It was only after this initial survey that Peter was allowed to meet Beverly Ehrich and hear her amazing confirmation of his psychic visions. After making his initial psychic impressions alone, with no background information, Peter was allowed to meet Beverly Ehrich, her family, and the home's owner, Paul Downs.
I feel like there is a young female. I did not get a name, but I got a letter M, female, that was here, and I got a sense of her going back to the door, looking, or perhaps in anticipation of her loved one, expecting him to come back, but he doesn't come back.
To me, it was a wonderful experience, a very emotional experience. I was feeling tears of joy because this confirmed that the people and the events that I kept sensing and experiencing do exist here. They are present, and they do coexist with myself and my family.
Listen. They're sobbing. Listen, they're crying. Listen. Now listen. Hello? Communicate with me.
When Peter came up, we were going up the stairs, he asked to have Mary make herself known to us. And then he said, give us something that we can all identify with. And the scent of her cologne, her perfume, became overwhelming.
he called down the spirit of Mary and to introduce me to the scent that I've been smelling here for years. I just never put two and two together.
In the master bedroom where Peter had previously sensed the mysterious death of Evangeline Gardner, Peter had another hit.
Do you know if medical people met here regularly?
A doctor lived here.
A doctor lived here, okay. Okay, that's why I felt medical.
In the room where Peter had earlier sensed a female spirit and the letter M, he revealed a name everyone but Peter already knew.
Who's here? See now, the M. The name sounds like Marie, or Maria, or Mary.
Mary.
Is it Mary?
Yes.
And he pointed out the name either Mary or Maria. And so, we kind of looked at each other and we said, yeah, he's definitely tuned in on something.
I hear her sobbing hysterically, just pacing.
I think strongest emotionally was when he began to describe, he could hear Mary crying.
Handle the news that someone is not coming back. It's very sad.
I knew what she was sobbing about was the fact that he had chosen not to come back of his own will, because at that time I had visions of the Civil War soldier receiving an injury to his leg, making him feel less than complete.
Peter sensed that injury in the spirit and in one of those present, too.
Someone have a bad knee? Me?
Yes,
you have a bad knee?
Downs.
I do have, I've got a bad knee. I have an old athletic injury. I never even met the man before, and I didn't know it was that obvious. I was kind of surprised about his accuracy. He seemed to be right on the money.
Beverly believes that Paul's injury and the injury of the soldier spirit are not coincidental. She has long felt that Paul and the spirit are connected through a shared past life.
I am totally convinced that Paul and I have known each other for hundreds of years.
I feel that Beverly and Paul have been together in a former life as well. And they're together now because there's some unfinished business to accomplish.
For confirmation, Peter called up the spirit of Mary.
It's cold, yeah. She's here. Mary, make your presence known. Speak to me. Mary. I think that Beverly could have been Mary in a former life. And Mary is able to recognize her sense of who she is now, and it's like looking into a mirror.
The living factor, the day-to-day life factor of feeling like I'm possibly Mary and vice versa is very easy to accept, especially now.
I guess I'd pretty much say I'm pretty much a believer now, just from what I've seen around here, and the fact that I had definite proof of just tying together the presence of Mary as well as the cologne or the fragrance, which is something that I've had for years. I just never paid any mind to it.
Beverly feels right at home here, as she did many, many years ago, I believe, in a former life. When she arrived here the first time, she felt at ease and very much at home. Since all of this has been brought to light now more favorably from her perspective, that she's going to feel more at ease, and she'll be able to better cohabitate with the spirits that are in the house.
I think that we're going to move forward here at Plenty, continue to coexist. It's just a wonderful experience to know that I have reference several hundred years ago to draw from, to continue into the future.
Having the past come back to haunt you is something a lot of people dread, especially politicians. But for Beverly Ehrig, finding the house called Plenty and connecting with the entities that she believes are living there has brought her full circle. Finally, Beverly says her past has shown her where she belongs.
Next, can these case studies convince the world that UFOs really do exist?
You have to get past this business where everybody thinks it's a kooky, crackpot subject.
It's not available to the public, but there is a report that's generating a tremendous amount of excitement within the international UFO community. The report is called UFO Briefing Document, the best available evidence. And it is exactly that, 170 pages of what a scientific panel believes is proof that we are not alone. Socorro, New Mexico, 1964. Tehran, Iran, 1976. Rendlesham Forest, England, 1980. These are three of the most compelling cases in the history of ufology, and their complete stories, as well as other sightings and research culled from obscure files, are presented in U.F.O.'s The Best Available Evidence. It is designed to convince world leaders that UFOs are a phenomenon worthy of serious investigation by presenting the most compelling research from the three largest UFO organizations in the world.
The cases were selected on the basis of being well documented with such things as military intelligence reports, and they were chosen to represent many different countries.
They were also chosen because they were mythbusters. For example, the popular notion that UFO eyewitnesses are crackpots is blasted in the Socorro case, where the chief witness was a police officer.
A UFO landed in the desert outside of a little New Mexican town and was sighted by a police officer, Lonnie Zamora, and the object took off with a roar and flew away silently.
No one has ever cast doubt upon this guy. He doesn't have a lot of scientific background, but he's a highly dependable witness with a good eye. Also, the case was investigated within a couple of hours by a man from Army Intelligence and a man from the FBI. They were highly impressed by him.
An encounter between a UFO and Iran's Air Force dispels the myth that UFOs are aircraft misidentified by the public.
They sent an F-4 Phantom jet to chase after it. The pilot made contact. He armed a missile on instructions from the base and was about to shoot this thing, whereupon the whole missile panel electronics went dead. This pilot turned back to base. They sent a second F-4. Same thing happened. He tried to arm a missile. The panel went dead. UFOs have, throughout the years, shown a capability to cause electromagnetic effects, and they seem to be able to understand what a weapon is.
The explanation that these are secret weapons of earthly origin does not explain the Bentwaters incident.
The sightings in Bentwaters, England, during December of 1980, very significant cases because they involve numerous military witnesses, including the deputy base commander. He personally saw things flying around the sky. He personally saw light beams coming down in the vicinity of the atomic weapons storage area.
Most things people report as UFOs are explainable, but there's a hardcore of sightings, such as the ones in the best available evidence, that simply cannot be explained by any known means. And these have convinced me that they are not terrestrial.
You have to get past this business where everybody thinks it's a kooky, crackpot subject. We're not talking about Elvis is alive and living on Mars. We're talking about geometrical, metallic-appearing, craft-like objects that are flying around the atmosphere and have been reported by, for example, by military pilots from perhaps 15 different countries around the world.
The document's authors know the world won't beat a path to their door, but they hope this will be a start.
I think the best thing that could happen from this project is that world leaders would begin to treat this seriously and band together to get something accomplished and get past the low level of dialogue that exists and the stereotypes that exist. The stereotypes are terrible. They're totally false.
We're dealing with such astounding information here that you can tone it down all you want and it's still pretty amazing.
In the past, Sightings has investigated many of the incidents reviewed in the best available evidence. And an investigation is ongoing right now to unravel one of the greatest enigmas of World War II. Foo Fighters, on a future broadcast. The UFO briefing document is not available to the general public, but Richard Hall and Don Berliner have prepared an executive summary of the report. It is available from the Fund for UFO Research in Mount Rainier, Maryland, or through the Fund's website.
If you've had a paranormal experience, please write to us at Sightings. Sightings can also be contacted at America Online at keyword Sightings. Download images, sounds, and QuickTime clips from Sightings episodes. On the internet, access information about sightings and the paranormal at sci-fi.com/sightings.
Until next time, remember, no mystery is closed to an open mind. For Sightings, I'm Tim White.